what's your goals for this year in terms of scale for the agency? Where are we trying to get to?
I have a plan in place, and I obviously like to aim a lot higher, but definitely this year I want to do 55 to basically get to 55K per month in a financial year. But obviously the main goal is to hit that first six-figure mark, and and just working towards that, building up a team, training them. It's definitely a lot different to going from 0 to 10 to going from 0 to 50, 60, or 100, as you'd probably know yourself. So yeah, definitely 100 by I guess next year or something like that for sure.
Absolutely. Awesome, guys. So welcome back to another interview. Today we've got Dylan Marley, who's the founder of Cold to Soul. Just want to start out by letting Dylan give a bit of an introduction to himself, and then want to walk through your story, just kind of understand how you got to the place that you're at with your agency now. Hopefully provide some value, kind of reveal some golden nuggets that some up-and-coming agency owners can take away to implement for themselves. And so do you want to start by telling us what your agency is, who you serve, where you're at right now in terms of revenue numbers? Don't have to be like super specific, but just sort of context on where you're at right now. And then we'll go from there.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on. So basically, my agency is called Cold to Sold, and we're a real estate marketing agency now. We've been operating for around about 2.5 years now. We're hitting consistently around the 32K per month, which is really good. And I think I was a part of, I guess, one of Liam's programs very early on, and it basically changed my life, man. So thanks for having me on. For sure.
Man, it's cool. It's always cool to jump on and have these conversations. And so take us back, like right now, like it's even crazy to say, like, we can get so caught up in just like operating in the business, and we like hit these figures, and we're kind of just like on to the next milestone. But like getting to 32K per month in a business is no easy task. And so how long ago, like walk us back to the start. When did you kind of first get into the make money online space? Like when did you first start taking the agency seriously?
For sure, I think when I first finished school and I moved to Brisbane, so we're based in Brisbane, sorry. And I moved to Brisbane, I was in university, and I did a course to get into the uni because I got a really bad OP at the time. I was really, I guess, bad in high school. And then, I think once I was in university and just being there, like the first year, even the first 6 months, I was just like, this isn't really for me. I'm not really learning anything, and I'm broke.
What were you studying?
I was studying international business, similar to what you were studying, But I just wasn't learning anything, and I knew I wanted to make a lot of money, and I wanted to travel and have time and location freedom. And then, I applied for heaps of jobs around when I first moved down to Brisbane, and I just couldn't get a job. And the easiest job that you can get to, as anyone knows, is a labouring job. I got a labouring job, and that's when I guess reality really hit me, and I was just like, damn, like this is the working world. Like this is what my parents are doing to feed us. Like this is what people are doing to, pay their bills. And I'm packing boxes in a warehouse for butchers. Like we literally had to wake up in the morning, go pack all the pepper and cayenne down the chute, and then pack it. And then in the afternoon, you'd have to pack the boxes. And I was just like, I can't do this for the rest of my life, obviously as you do as a young kid, I just basically YouTube how do I get rich? Like how do I make money along the side? I wasn't really looking like how do I get rich. I just wanted extra money so that I could go out with my friends and go out with my girlfriend at the time. Obviously once you YouTube how to make money, the first thing that comes up is obviously drop shipping. So I guess I dabbled a little bit in that in early, I think 2019. I learned a lot. I didn't really have too much crazy success with it, but I learned the fundamentals about, a funnel, marketing, how Facebook ads sort of work and everything like that. And then, that's sort of how I got into make money online. And then, I started networking, went to sort of like a housewarming, and I met some really successful people in the online space. And at the time, one of them was doing I guess the marketing agency. I learned some of him, and then I basically got a sales job. And the goal was to basically stack my commission and get mentorships and coaching. Live off my salary and just use the commission to invest in myself. And then, I basically did that for a whole year, really honed down like my communication skills and sales. And then, I think I ended up leaving my job at the gym, sales job at the gym in 2021 in around, I guess, November when we first started, when I first met you, sort of around that time. And then, I just went all in on the agency, and I haven't really looked back since. I love what I do.
Absolutely. For sure. So how long did it take you from when you like actually started the agency and was really taking it seriously? Like when we first started working together, was that kind of close to when you were starting to really execute on the agency specifically?
Yeah. So when we first started working together, I sort of had something in place. Like I was doing it sort of like trial and error, sort of really bootstrap for private air chartering, just because it was high ticket. Some gyms at the time, obviously, as you do, because that was the industry I was working in. But yeah, I didn't really fully go into it until we started speaking. Where I literally like quit my job. I had 6 months of savings, and I was like, if this doesn't work, I can pull back on savings, or I can go back and get another sales job. So yeah, so around about that time, that's when I went full in 2021 November.
Absolutely. And in those kind of early stages, what do you think were some of the biggest things that kind of helped you make like the biggest leaps forward in terms of progress and revenue and scaling the business? Because like one thing that I always try and think back on is, usually in any business, it's never consistent linear growth. It's like, stagnating, like going down for a little bit, and then you like discover like one new thing, and then that gives you like the next big spurt of growth, and then you plateau for a little bit, and then you have to figure something else out. And so in your kind of, from 0 to 10, 15, 20, 30, what's kind of like some of those big milestones and learning points that helped you have those big shifts on your journey?
Yeah, for sure. I think number one is definitely understanding like the psychology and the sales. The way I was going into like the demo calls, I just wasn't stacking the odds in my favor. I wasn't in an authority position heading into the demo call. It was very like using my own phone number to text them and stuff like it was very scratchy and dodgy. So there was no trust by the time that we got on the actual Zoom call like this. So that was probably one, is understanding sales and psychology. Number two is obviously the weekly Q&As that we had, and just picking your brain and basically any questions that I basically had. That really helped me like a lot, because like the best way to get into a position where you want to be is just to learn from someone that's done it before. Like that's the easiest way to do it. I think that definitely helped as well. And then I think with the numbers that we're sort of doing now, I'm definitely evolving into more of like a team leader and just trying to teach my, I guess, knowledge and stuff like that to the team, especially like the accounts manager and stuff like that, VAs, building SOPs and stuff. So yeah, it's sort of like, you're correct. It's like a massive evolution, because at the start, it's just yourself, at home on your laptop, sending all these emails and stuff like that. And then you learn another skill, and then that, throws you up to another level, learn another skill, and then it throws you up to another level. And yeah, that's sort of like the process that it is, for sure. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, 100%. One of the things that I always, a feeling that I had always very early on when I first got into business and entrepreneurship, is that I never wanted my like output and work and skill level to be undervalued from the market. Like I never wanted for someone else to be profiting off my work and effort and skill. And the good thing about entrepreneurship, which can also be the bad thing, is that you're compensated directly for the value that you create. And for some people that can be bad, because it's hard work to build something where you're providing value. But when you're doing it the right way, then you reap the rewards of that. And so because of that, you're rewarded a lot more from your hard work, because all of your skills compound. And like, you could be just good at sales, and you could make 10 to 15K per month. But then if you learn sales and marketing, then you can make 50K per month. And then if you learn sales, marketing, and team leadership, then you can make 150K per month, and then so on and so forth. And so that's like, that makes 100% sense in your situation. And I've seen a common thread between agency owners that have had, relatively quick success and having some kind of sales background. And
yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
And I'd be interested to hear like your thoughts on, specifically from your sales experience in the gym, like selling gym memberships. What do you think were the transferable skills from like selling those types of offers and services versus selling more like high ticket B2B services?
I think obviously like just understanding communication skills. Like obviously at the gym, you meet people from different types of backgrounds in their fitness journeys. So, and how's that come across to real estate is you meet real estate agents that are different stages of their journey. People that are doing 100 to 150K, or 150K to 300, or 300 to 1 mil plus. and really sort of gauging where they're at, and just like trying to understand where they're at, finding out what their problems are, how we can actually help them. But yeah, it is a massive difference because you go from selling $21 a week memberships to high ticket services that are like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 per month. It's it's a massive difference. And I think I did sort of struggle at the start, especially with the numbers that we were sort of charging. I was, quite nervous to ask that much because for me, like it was a lot of money back then. So I was like, how is someone going to pay me this much per month for doing this compared to like a gym membership? So there was a lot of, I guess, limiting beliefs around it, but it just comes with experience, man. Like the more sales calls that you have, the more agents that you speak with, you understand, hey, these guys are actually making money. They can afford it compared to, a gym membership. And it's a completely different industry, but the skills that you learn are so good when you're coming to start an agency. Like sales is such a high income skill. So yeah, I definitely learned a lot from the gym, and having that sales background definitely helped me a lot to scale really quickly, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember one of the very first sales jobs that I did. You know those people at shopping centers that like sell the raffle tickets?
Oh yeah, I had to do that as well.
Yeah. I did that for maybe like a week. I did that for a week and I was like, no, I cannot do this ever again. Like it's just sucks way too much. But every single time I see those people, I think like they would actually be good appointment setters and sales.
Yeah.
I might just go out and like speak to a few of them, recruit them, because they'd make way more money and they'd be stoked at selling.
Yeah, no, literally, I was literally at the shopping center today, and I saw these two guys doing it for Surf Life Saving or something like that. And like deep, obviously you feel bad when you say no, but I'm just like, hold on, he could probably be an appointment setter.
Yeah.
And I kept walking, but I didn't say anything. And I'm just like, yeah, I used to do that before. And yeah, it's such a hard job, man. Like you're basically trying to get a cold audience to give you their details and sign up to a subscription or whatever it is that they're selling. So yeah, it does build a lot of character. So hats off to anyone that does that.
Yeah, of course. And with where you're at with the agency right now, what does your team look like at the moment? One thing that I notice about lots of agency owners when they're at different stages, obviously, like you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes when you're at a certain stage, I see a lot of agency owners asking the wrong questions that they should be asking around what they should be focusing on, and like. I've been doing a lot of coaching calls recently with agency owners that are like at 0 to 10K per month, and a lot of the time I'm like, these aren't the questions that you should be asking. And I think one of the things that can help give agency owners a lot of clarity is understanding what does the team look like at different levels of scale, because obviously the team, like good businesses are built by good people. You're not going to scale to 25, 30K, 50K plus per month without a team. And so, and I know that that's something that I took way too long to start scaling my team and assembling my team. And so what does your team look like right now? Like how's it structured?
Yeah, definitely. So basically what the team looks like is obviously myself, and then I have one VA and two appointment setters. One of them is basically going to be an appointment setter / accounts manager, and we're going to transfer her basically into obviously looking after clients and stuff like that, as well as helping on demo calls. So she's in training to basically do that, but obviously me and basically 3 others now as well.
Yeah, nice. And what's your goals for this year in terms of scale for the agency? Where are we trying to get to?
Yeah, definitely. Good question. I have a plan in place, and I obviously like to aim a lot higher, but definitely this year I want to do 55 to basically get to 55K per month in a financial year. So obviously not end of year, but end of financial year. But obviously the main goal is to hit that first 6-figure mark, and and just work towards that, building up a team, training them. It's definitely a lot different to going from 0 to 10 to going from 0 to 50, 60, or 100, as you'd probably know yourself. So yeah, definitely 100 by I guess next year or something like that for sure.
Absolutely. And in terms of the niche, like obviously you're in the real estate niche, what kind of drove you to transition into that niche after kind of testing the was it private jets or was
private air chartering? Yeah. So I was doing private air chartering gyms. I didn't really have a set niche until we actually spoke. But yeah, to answer your question, probably working with yourself and really understanding like I need to pick one niche. And yeah, after working with yourself and getting like a really good understanding of the niche, that's when I was like, yeah, well, we'll do real estate. And we do an 80-20 split now, to be honest. We do an 80 split of real estate agents and developers, and then a 20% split to mortgage brokers as well. now.
Yeah.
So we sort of dabbled into outside the niche, but it still has to do with property and markets and stuff like that as well.
And
So.
how have you found like the differences with working with mortgage brokers in terms of like client acquisition and client fulfillment? Is it like, have you found it being easier or harder from a like a fulfillment and result standpoint?
It depends on like their location and everything, and obviously the client. But yeah, some are a lot easier to get results for, and a lot more like they're really good clients to work with as well. Like they're not as busy as real estate agents. But it's like a very similar industry. You're getting leads for them, getting appointments, and they're all looking at doing something with a property. So I'd say they're like very similar, man. To be honest, like we're always getting around between like an $8 to $18 cost per lead on lead forms and chatbot automations as well. So yeah, I think they're very similar. If you had to ask me, for sure.
Yeah. And how did you go about the process of developing a fulfillment strategy from like not having worked with any mortgage brokers to starting to fulfill them?
Good question, man. So obviously the first one is look at already what's working.
Yeah.
And just like, have a look at what's working. So go on ads library, see what other mortgage brokers are advertising and model off that. Don't copy it, just model off it, and then create your own creatives to obviously the client and stuff like that. And because we had that experience with the follow-up and nurture from real estate, we could obviously do the same. It was just the top of funnel, which was obviously the creative and everything like that, to see what's working, like who's been running ads for the longest, and then just mimic it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just in general, like if you were to go back in time, or be like giving yourself as an early agency owner some advice, some like mistakes that you would say, like, hey, don't do that, don't do that, don't waste time on that. If you're gonna really shortcut your progress for scaling, what's some of kind of the big picture things that you would tell yourself?
Definitely start paid ads a lot quicker. Yeah, definitely start paid ads a lot quicker because it's a lot more automated and the conversion rate is a lot higher. And you're much more of a authority figure when someone comes to do business with you instead of you reaching out to them cold DM, cold email, whatever it is that you're doing. That's probably number one, is start paid ads a lot quicker. Like I'd probably start at when I was doing 10K per month, even 8, to be honest. As long as I have a really good, strong offer and testimonials as well, like why am I not starting paid ads? So that's probably number one. Number two is don't accept every single client just because they're going to pay you. Like I've made that mistake so many times, just saying yes. And a bad sign is when a client's been through so many agencies. They're the common factor, and there's a reason why they've been through so many agencies. So don't say yes to everyone just because you need the money.
Yeah.
Those are probably the two for sure.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best ones, because I mean, it's funny because so many of these lessons you kind of have to learn it the hard way, because then you don't feel the sting, you don't feel the pain of just like being in those situations. For example, like even with paid ads, like accepting clients that you shouldn't. It's like you learn that with paid ads, like you shouldn't run certain types of ads because it attracts those types of clients that end up being the nightmare clients when you're kind of leading with too strong or bold guarantees or claims, because then that just like attracts the type of people that only going to buy a service if they are confident they can fall back on a guarantee to get a refund. And like that's one of the things that we experience is when we're just like trying to scale as quickly and as much as possible. We're just like saying yes to pretty much everyone, and then have like a 2 to 3 month period where we're just dealing with all these nightmare clients that were complaining about stuff that was completely irrational. And so it's the hardest thing to actually adhere to initially, because the last thing that you want to do is turn down business when someone's saying that they're going to hand over their credit card. But like something that Alex Mosey puts really well is that in the long run, if you're not focusing on your brand and your positive word of mouth, that will catch up. Like your negative word of mouth scales quicker than you can possibly scale ads and client acquisition. And so thinking long term, it's always better to prioritize the reputation and the longevity of your brand and maintaining positive word of mouth. But obviously, when we're just getting started in the agency, we're hungry to scale, hungry to get some cash flow, have some wins, and you kind of have to experience those lessons the hard way. Anything else, or those the main ones?
Yeah, those are probably, I guess, the main ones, running paid ads. I mean, like, everyone makes it out to be like this clear path to, 30, 50, 100K, but it's really not like that. For me personally, I found that, we had some really, really good months, and then I lost 80% of clients, and we went all the way back to down to
Yeah,
like 4, 5 grand a month, and your stress just hits the roof, and you're just like, am I doing the right thing? Did I make the right decision? What's going on? So yeah, I think one thing I learned just being in business is just learning how to handle stress at times, because
100%.
when I'm only 21, so when you hit like 15, 20K months at such a young age, and it's a lot of money that you've never had before, you're going to get complacent. And I look back now and I can see, yeah, I definitely did. And that's why I guess I lost all those clients at that time. But getting back up there is probably the best feeling, because you know how to do it. You've done it before. You're coming with experience, and you're a lot more, I guess, experienced, like knowledgeable now. So yeah, it's the best feeling when you get it back up there for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think being able to operate well and be like level-headed under stress, like that's probably one of the biggest one of the biggest skills in business, because
Oh,
stress is
100%.
literally inevitable. Like I think one of the biggest things that most people struggle with is decision fatigue and just like constant uncertainty, because in business, like everything is uncertain. Like you're always making decisions out of not a state of pure certainty. You're always questioning, like you said, is this the right, like, is this the right thing that I should be doing? Is this,
Yeah.
and even at high levels of scale, when you've like on the outside, it would look like everything's great. Like you're still very uncertain of, should I make this hire? Like, should we launch this new service? Like, are we in the right niche? Are we in the right industry? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
you're still questioning so much stuff. And so being able to train yourself to be a lot more level headed and handle stress is definitely one of the biggest ones. And it just kind of takes time to kind of go through more of those situations and learn from it. Yeah, man, that's really cool. And so where you're at now, just in terms of your lifestyle and kind of what you've been able to achieve, what's kind of some of the biggest things that you're grateful now, kind of looking back of when you're working a labourer job, you're at uni, doing a degree that you didn't want to do. Kind of what's some of the things that you're able to do now that you really
Just time and location freedom, man. Like today, I literally went to the gym for like 2 hours, and I didn't have to answer to anyone. Obviously, like I had my sales calls and everything like that, but setting out a period of time where I get to go to the gym and do what I love, and spend time with my family, friends. Like I get to fly my mom here from Rocky and PNG and stuff like that, and it's just like before I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? Now I get to whenever I want to see her. So like, yeah, the money's good and everything like that, but I think being able to give back to like your family and friends and seeing their reaction and stuff like that is probably the best feeling, and there's no price that you can put to it, man. I couldn't do that as a laborer, and now I can. So yeah, I think definitely that time and location freedom. Like I go to the beach like basically every single weekend, every Friday afternoon and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm just so happy, man. Like I'm living life for
yeah.
sure.
I feel like it's one of the things that's so easy to take for granted. Like once you're in these business models, is how good having that time and location freedom actually is. And like it's to the point where I don't understand like why anyone wouldn't want to
Exactly.
do some kind of online business model. Like when there's the option to make 20 to 30 grand a month from wherever you want, from whenever you want, wherever you want. It's like, why would you even consider working a job? Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah, like literally at the start, obviously it's a bit hard because when you're starting the agency, it's just you, your laptop, and obviously being in a gym and you're around a lot of people in the community.
Yeah.
It's like a massive change. So I was like, oh, did I make the right decision? What's going on here? Whereas my lifestyle now compared to back then, I'm just like, I love it, man. Like, I love it so much. Doing what I want when I want. I don't have to answer to anyone. If I don't want to go to a call, I just don't go to a call. So yeah, no, it's good, man. Like especially like the gym thing, going to the gym 2 hours, I couldn't do that before, and definitely yeah, looking after my family. I'm very grateful for this business model has definitely given me.
Yeah. And so, what are you mainly focusing on right now in the business? Like, what are you spending the majority of your time on, kind of building and innovating in the business right now? Where's your attention at?
Yeah, so most of my attention is obviously still taking the demo calls.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's basically like the sales calls and everything like that until I train, obviously, my appointments that are now into sort of going into a closing role so that
Okay.
I can hire myself. And I'm also building SOPs out for every single, like we're sort of upgrading our service a little bit
Yeah.
and just offering more value to our agents and clients. So yeah, building out those SOPs and everything like that and taking sales calls are basically my main, I guess, duties every single day. And which, as they are, like that's what moves the needle forward is to get on sales calls. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. And so you're training up your current appointment setter to transition to start taking the sales calls.
Correct. Yeah. So basically, what I do, and I actually got this off Dace, was to get them to sit in the call.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, hey, Liam, this is our accounts manager, Sarah. You know, she's just basically going to listen in on this demo call, and then just go straight into the demo call.
Yeah, no, that's the best thing to do. Like when I
Yeah.
when I brought on my first closer, like I did, I've heard mixed opinions of if it makes sense to transition an appointment setter into a closer or not. Like I definitely think it can work if you've got the right person. That's what I did, and it just really has to be the right person. But the best thing to do is just like have like a week where they sit in the background of every single call, then get them to for about like the next week for about half the week. Then they lead the call, but you're still on it so that you can like kind of pick up the slack of questions that they don't know how to answer, and then just like completely transition them over to taking the calls, and then doing mostly like daily sales team meetings where you're doing like call reviews and just like just doing call breakdowns and call reviews of their calls. That's like what moves the needle forward and improves their performance the most.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely something I had to learn was like teaching someone like how to be, I guess, a leader in the business and teach someone else, like hire and train, because I've never had to do that. Like you didn't have to do that at the warehouse or at the gym.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely like a massive skill that I sort of had to learn, and yeah, like the team work environment and everything like that, teaching them how to do it. But yeah, like basically how it sort of started was she was getting amazing results for us, and she was basically doing the appointment setting for the agency as well as clients.
Yeah.
And then obviously she was killing it. So I was like, hey, we have this role opening up. Would you like to, apply and we can train you? And obviously the best role, like the best person is someone who already knows the business. So I'm obviously going to bring her forward to someone off Upwork or something like that. But yeah, I'm really confident in it. And yeah, definitely focus on training her and I guess firing myself for sure.
Absolutely. Awesome, man. Cool. Well, I think we've covered a fair few topics there and kind of gone through your whole journey and covered some good valuable areas. I think that's a good spot to wrap up. Is there any kind of final thoughts or anything else that you wanted to touch on?
No, I guess the best investment is in yourself. And if you want to, I guess, achieve a goal that you've never achieved before, the best way to do it is just to learn from someone that's already achieved it, which is what I did to, I guess, get to the position where I am with Liam. And yeah, like I said, man, I tell you this all the time, it's the best investment of my life. Best in myself and I guess yourself helping me out for sure.
Absolutely, man. Really appreciate it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to
Having me.
jump on. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for dropping some value, not holding back whatsoever. And yeah, man, it was awesome to touch base. Thanks for doing the interview.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Easy, man. Cool.